I won 8 million bucks overnight. First thing I did, rushed to the hospital to pay for my son's surgery. That's when my phone rang. Ian, a coworker, was on the line. Something came up. You gotta get back here right now. My wife, Mara, grabbed the bank card from my hand. Her voice was all sweet and caring. Just give me the PIN. I'll handle the hospital bills. Go ahead. Work's important. We'll be fine. In my past life, I didn't think twice. I trusted her completely and took off. My son never got that surgery. Instead, the cops came for me. Turns out Mara and Ian had set me up. They pinned Ian's embezzlement on me. With no money for treatment. My son died in the hospital. My parents couldn't take it. They both had heart attacks and passed away. And me? I rotted in prison until I couldn't take it anymore and ended my life. After I died, my soul drifted to some fancy vacation villa in the Maldives. Mara was there laughing with Ian. That idiot won a fortune and blew it on that sick kid. He made my life miserable. She laughed even harder. Now his whole family is dead. And we get to live it up for the rest of our lives. Think of it as payback from that loser. Huh. Then I opened my eyes. I was back in the hospital hallway. Right at the moment Mara reached for my bank card. This time I still gave her the PIN. Honey, let me take care of the bills. Go on. Work's important. Don't worry about us. My wife Mara held the bank card tight. $8 million in there. She sounded sweet. But her eyes, they were lit up with excitement. In my past life, I trusted her completely. I never saw it coming. She took the money meant to save our son, Jaden, and teamed up with Ian to frame me for embezzlement. I got 10 years in prison. Jaden died in the hospital without treatment. My parents died of heart attacks. One after the other. Their bodies were left on the street with no one to help. Now that I had a second chance, I was burning with rage. I wanted to tear that woman apart with my bare hands. But that would just land me back in prison. Not worth it. I was gonna make Mara and Ian pay my way. I grabbed her wrist tight. Thanks for handling the hospital stuff. This money is for Jaden's surgery. Make sure it goes to the right account. See, last time she didn't send the money to the hospital. She sent it straight to Ian's account. Something flickered in her eyes. She looked away. Don't worry. I won't mess that up. I smiled, all right? Then I turned around, the smile was gone. I walked out of the hospital. Pulled out my phone and called the cops. Hi, I need to report a fraud. 2 minutes ago, I got scammed out of $8 million. I need help getting my money back. $8 million. The officer got serious real quick and opened a case right away. Good thing you called so fast. We'll help you recover the funds. If you get any leads, let us know. Thank you, I said, sounding worried. That money is for my son's surgery. Please help. After I hung up, I smiled. I wasn't worried that money would be back in my account soon enough. This was exactly what Mara and Ian did to frame me last time. But now they were gonna get a taste of their own medicine. My phone kept buzzing. Ian again. I didn't pick up, didn't need to. I knew he was trying to get me back to the office. So I'd walk right into their trap. I smirked. I grabbed a cab. But instead of heading to work, I went straight to the lottery office. Hi, I'm the guy who won 8 million this morning. I need an official certificate proving I'm the winner right now. Last time I was so desperate to pay for Jaden's surgery that I skipped this step completely. That mistake cost me everything. After they framed me, I tried to get my win verified. But Mara and Ian had already paid off the lottery staff. I changed the winner's info to someone else. I couldn't prove the money was mine. This time, I got everything notarized. I even got the staff to print out the transaction receipt showing the money went into my account. I wasn't giving Mara or Ian any openings this time. My phone rang again. Ian. I picked up. Jack, where are you? Something major happened. It involves you. Mr. Madison wants you back here now. He sounded panicked but wouldn't tell me what was going on. Classic move. He was trying to mess with my head, so I'd show up confused and fall right into his trap. I kept my cool. Sure. I'll be there. I took my sweet time getting to the office. When I walked in, Ian looked at me with fake disappointment. Jack, how could you do this? Have you lost your mind? Cut the crap, I said. Just say what you mean. He tried to hide his smug look and raised his voice so everyone could hear. Jack. Drop the act. The company found out you've been stealing millions. Whole office went quiet. Everyone looked up at me in shock. Jack always seems so honest. Wow, someone's been stealing funds since last week. Never thought it was him. Can't judge a book by its cover. Looks honest, but he's greedy as hell. Why does he need that much money? Got side chicks or something? I heard his kid's sick and needs surgery. Maybe that's why. Still, stealing company money is illegal. He's going straight to prison. Everyone was whispering and looking at me like I was trash. Ian looked so smug. I stayed calm. I didn't steal anything. It wasn't me. Richard Madison, the GM, threw a stack of papers at me. Jack, we have proof. Stop lying. I trusted you. I was going to recommend you for a promotion last week. This is how you repay us. I flipped through the pages. Financial reports, transfer records from the company system. Every transaction had my name and employee ID on it. Then I got to the last page. The most recent transfer was 10 minutes ago. $8 million. Sent from the company's accounts to a bank account under my name. I pulled out my phone and checked my bank app. Yep, 8 million had hit my account 10 minutes ago. Richard snapped. Jack. What do you have to say for yourself? My coworkers looked at me like I was garbage. The proof's right there. Let's see him talk his way out of this. Just call the cops. We bust our backs for this company just to pay our bills. Who does he think he is taking company money? Anger spread through the room like wildfire. Everyone here did the same kind of work. Of course, they weren't happy. Seeing a coworker cheat the system and get rich overnight. Ian watched it all with a smug grin. I looked at him, then turned to Richard. Mr. Madison, don't you think this is a little too convenient? I got here 10 minutes ago. And suddenly 8 million shows up in my account. I'm guessing Ian gave you all this evidence. Ian looked pissed. So what if I did? We're coworkers, but I can't just let you hurt the company. That's why I reported you. I laughed. I'm not the only one with access to the financial system. Plus, last time I logged in, you came over and looked at my screen. You probably saw my password. How do I know you didn't do this just to frame me? Richard paused. Something didn't add up. They've been looking into the stolen funds since last week. It had nothing to do with me. But now all the evidence suddenly pointed my way. Richard looked at Ian frowning. Panic flashed across Ian's face. But he pulled himself together quick. Mr. Madison, don't listen to him. The records aren't the only reason I suspected him. I also have a witness. That's right. I'm the witness. Everyone turned to look at the entrance. It was Mara. The whole office went crazy. Isn't that Jack's wife? Oh, man. If his own wife says so, it must be true. Ian looked smug. Jack. Even your wife reported you. What now? I wasn't surprised last time. Mara showed up at exactly the right moment to deliver the final blow. Mara was a great actress. Her eyes turned red instantly. Jack, I really didn't want to do this. But I feel so guilty, I scoffed. Mara, if you actually had a heart, you'd be at the hospital with our son. Not here helping Ian frame me. Something flickered in her eyes. But she recovered fast. I'm doing this for our son. I can't watch you dig yourself deeper into this hole. She went on, sounding all righteous. If Jaden's dad is a criminal, kids will bully him at school. Won't be able to hold his head up. Your mistake will ruin his future. Jack. It's not too late to confess. You'll go to prison, but that's what you deserve for what you did. Ian chimed in. She's right. Turn yourself in, cooperate. And maybe they'll go easy on you. Yeah, it's all out in the open now. No point being stubborn. Just confess. You took what wasn't yours. Time to pay up. Turn yourself in. Suddenly, everyone in the room had already decided I was guilty. They all kept telling me to confess. Mara and Ian could barely contain their excitement. I didn't panic. I stayed calm. Mara, you're lying. If I'd stolen company money, Jaden would have had his surgery a long time ago. I won $8 million today. And gave you the card so you could pay for his surgery. Now you're here accusing me of stealing. How could you do this to Jaden while he's lying in a hospital bed? When I mentioned our son, Mara didn't even flinch. She spoke like she was on some moral high ground. I'm not lying. What would I gain from lying? Yes, Jaden needs the money. But you can't just steal it. If you do, he'll grow up being looked down on. I stared at her. Mara. Jaden is our only son. Are you really willing to risk his life just to frame me? Her eyes went cold, but she kept up the act. Jack, I'm doing this for our son. Stop being so stubborn and turn yourself in. I'll figure out another way to pay for Jaden's surgery. We'll wait for you to get out. Her act was so good that everyone started siding with her. I don't think his wife's lying. No mom would risk her kid's life just to frame her husband, right? They only have one kid. She must be devastated about the surgery money. But Jack stole it. He shouldn't have touched that money. At least she's thinking straight. If there's no money, they can crowdfund online. Way better than stealing from the company. Besides, he took millions. Surgery doesn't cost that much. He's just using his kid as an excuse. Probably wants to spend the money on himself. Maura and Ian stood together looking at me like they'd already won. I kept my face blank, but I was confused. Maura always complained that Jaden's illness was draining us dry. And ruining her lifestyle. But I just won $8 million. That was enough to pay for the surgery and still have plenty left over. Plus, I was about to get promoted and get a raise. Things were looking up. Why was she so set on betraying me? Ian was already married. Did she think teaming up with him would make her his wife? Mara saw me standing there silent. She thought I had nothing left to say. She touched her stomach without thinking and said sweetly, Jack, you already broke the rules. There's no running from this. Think of it as setting an example for your son. Turn yourself in. I promise I'll get him the treatment he needs, okay? I glared at her. There had to be more to this than money. Just then, Richard snapped. Call the police. I looked at my phone and smiled. No need. They're already here. Right on cue, a few cops walked into the office. Mara and Ian pointed at me looking thrilled. Officers, that's Jack Lowe. Arrest him. The cops looked at me. Nodded, then asked. Which one of you is Ian? Staffer. The cops stepped into the office like they owned the place, badges glinting under the fluorescent lights, shoes squeaking on the polished tile. The room went dead silent. Even the whispers died out. Mara's finger was still pointed at me, her red nails sharp as accusations. Ian stood beside her, chest puffed, that smug grin frozen on his face like he'd already pictured the handcuffs clicking around my wrists. "Which one of you is Ian?" the lead officer asked again, voice flat, professional. "No nonsense." Ian's grin slipped. "Just a fraction." He cleared his throat. "That's me. Officer, this is the guy you want." He jerked his chin toward me. "Jack Lowe. He's the one who embezzled $8 million from the company. We have proof." The officer didn't even glance at the stack of papers Richard was clutching like a lifeline. He looked straight at Ian. "Ian Whitaker?" "Yeah." Ian's voice cracked on the single word. The officer pulled out a small notepad. "We received a fraud report approximately 30 minutes ago. Caller stated he was scammed out of $8 million. Said the funds were transferred from his personal account, lottery winnings, into an account he didn't authorize. The transfer originated from a device traced to this building. Specifically, your workstation, Mr. Whitaker." The air sucked out of the room. Mara's hand dropped slowly to her side. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Ian blinked. Once. Twice. "Wait, what?" "No, that's not." Bank security flagged the transaction as suspicious, the officer continued, calm as if reading a grocery list. Caller provided immediate documentation, lottery verification certificate, timestamped deposit receipt, and a notarized affidavit of ownership. Funds were rerouted without consent. We froze the account 10 minutes ago. No transfers out. Richard's papers slipped from his fingers. They fluttered to the floor like dead leaves. I met Mara's eyes. She looked small suddenly, the righteous glow gone, replaced by something raw and panicked. Her hand drifted to her stomach again, instinctive, protective. That's when I noticed the slight curve under her blouse. Not noticeable unless you were looking. But I was. Pregnant. The pieces clicked into place like tumblers in a lock. The lottery win. The rush to frame me. The eagerness to get the money. Ian's panic calls. Her touching her belly like it held the future she'd been chasing. She hadn't just betrayed me for cash. She'd traded our family for a new one. I kept my voice low, steady. "Mara. You told me the money was for Jaden. You promised." Her eyes filled with tears, real ones this time, or maybe just good acting. "Jack, Save it." I turned to the officers. The transfer was made from Ian's computer. He had access to my login last week, said he needed to check something. Mara here was supposed to pay the hospital. Instead, she sent it straight to him. "Check the hospital records." Nothing went through. The second officer nodded. "Already on it." Hospital confirmed no payment received for a Jaden Lowe today. Ian lunged forward. "This is insane." "He's lying." "He's trying to." "Hands where I can see them, Mr. Whitaker." The lead officer stepped between us. "You're coming with us for questioning." "Both of you." Mara gasped. "Me? I didn't do anything. I'm just his wife." "You're listed as a joint holder on the receiving account," the officer said. "Joint signature required for large transfers. Your name's on the paperwork." Her face drained of color. The office erupted again, gasps, murmurs, phones coming out to record. Richard looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. I stepped closer to Mara, close enough that only she could hear. "You were going to let our son die so you could start over with him." I nodded toward Ian. "Was it worth it?" Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Jack, please." "I didn't mean, I was scared." Things were falling apart. Jaden's bills, the pressure. Ian said we'd have enough to start fresh. A better life. For who? My voice cracked, just once. Not for Jaden. Not for me. Not even for you, apparently. The officers cuffed Ian first. He struggled, shouting about lawyers, wrongful arrest, how this would ruin him. No one listened. When they moved to Mara, she backed up. Wait, no, you can't. I'm pregnant. The room froze again. The officer paused. Ma'am, we'll handle that at the station. Medical check if needed. She looked at me, pleading. Jack, tell them. Tell them I'm carrying your child. You wouldn't let them take me. I stared at her stomach. Then at her face. The woman I'd loved for 8 years. The mother of my son. The one who'd laughed over my grave in another life. I won't lie for you, I said quietly. Not anymore. They let her out. She didn't scream. She just cried, soft, broken sobs that echoed down the hallway. Richard approached me slowly, like I might explode. Jack. I don't know what to say. I believed the evidence. I know. I picked up the fallen papers. You'll find the real trail leads back to Ian. He set up dummy transfers weeks ago, routed them through my ID. Probably thought I'd never check because I'd be too busy rotting in prison. Richard nodded, shamefaced. The promotion, it was real. I was going to announce it next week. Doesn't matter now. I glanced at the door where the cops had disappeared. I need to get to the hospital. My son's waiting. I walked out without looking back. The cab ride to the hospital felt longer than the one from the lottery office. My phone buzzed nonstop, coworkers texting apologies, questions, shock. I ignored them all. When I stepped into Jaden's room, the antiseptic smell hit me first. Then the soft beep of monitors. My boy lay there, pale, small, tubes everywhere. But his eyes lit up when he saw me. Dad? I crossed the room in 2 strides, dropped to my knees beside the bed, and took his hand. It was cold. Too cold. Hey, buddy. My voice shook. I'm here. And I brought good news. His little brow furrowed. Mom said you'd be late. I swallowed hard. Mom's handling some things. But the money's safe. Surgery's happening tomorrow. Doctor said it's all set. His eyes widened. Really? Really? I brushed hair from his forehead. You're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. He smiled, weak, but real. Can we get ice cream after? I laughed, the sound surprising even me. As much as you want. Later, after he drifted back to sleep, I sat in the chair beside him, watching his chest rise and fall. My phone vibrated again. This time, a text from an unknown number. Asterisk bank alert, funds of $8 million returned to original account. Fraud case closed. Suspects in custody asterisk. I exhaled. Long slow. But the win didn't feel like victory. Not yet. Because revenge wasn't enough. Not when Jaden still needed a mother. Not when I still needed to figure out how to rebuild what she'd broken. The next few days blurred. Surgery went perfectly. Jaden woke up groggy but smiling, asking for that ice cream. Doctors said recovery would take time, but he'd make it. Mara called from jail. Collect. I accepted once. Jack, she whispered. I messed up. I know that. But I'm pregnant. Our baby. Please don't let them keep me here. I stared at the wall. You chose Ian over Jaden. Over us. You let him die in my other life. You laughed about it. Silence on her end. Then, soft, I was wrong. I was scared. I thought. I thought you'd never forgive me anyway. I might have, I said. Once. But not now. I hung up. Ian tried too. Voicemail after voicemail. Threats of lawsuits. Begging. I deleted them all. Weeks passed. Jaden came home. Our apartment felt too quiet without Mara's things. She'd moved most of them out already, I realized. To Ian's place, probably. I sold the place. Too many memories. Bought a small house outside the city. Quiet street. Big backyard. Jaden loved it. One afternoon, while he napped, I sat on the porch with a beer, watching the sunset paint the sky gold. My phone rang. Unknown again. I almost ignored it. But something made me answer. Jack Lowe? Yeah. This is Detective Ramirez. The fraud case against Whitaker and your wife is moving forward. They want to make a deal. Reduce charges if they cooperate fully. Whitaker's already talking, says Mara was the mastermind. Claims she seduced him, promised they'd run away together after you went down. I closed my eyes. And? We're offering her probation if she testifies. No jail time. Community service. But only if you don't object. You're the victim. I thought of Jaden's laugh this morning. The way he hugged me tight when I picked him up from school. I thought of the villa in the Maldives. Her laughter over my dead family. No deal, I said. Let the court decide. A pause. Understood. I hung up. Later that night, Jaden crawled into my lap with a book. Read to me, Dad? I pulled him close. His hair smelled like shampoo and sunshine. As I read, my mind drifted. Not to revenge anymore. To the future. To teaching him how to ride a bike. To college. To him falling in love someday, hopefully with someone who deserved him. Mara gave birth 3 months later. A girl. They let her name her before sentencing. She wrote me a letter from prison. Asterisk her name is Lily. I know you hate me. I deserve it. But if you ever want to meet her, she's yours too. I'm sorry, Jack. For everything asterisk. I folded the letter. Put it in a drawer. I didn't burn it. Didn't tear it. Someday, maybe, when Jaden was older and asked about his sister, I'd decide. But not today. Today, I had my son. A second chance. A house with a yard. A life that wasn't perfect, but it was mine. And for the first time since I woke up in that hospital hallway, I felt something close to peace. Jaden ran into the kitchen, grinning. Dad. Ice cream truck. I laughed. Stood up. Took his hand. Let's go get the biggest one. We walked out into the sunlight together. No more looking back. The ice cream truck's jingle faded down the block as Jaden licked chocolate from his fingers, grinning like the world had never cracked open. His small hand stayed in mine, sticky and warm, anchoring me. I kept my steps slow so he wouldn't tire, but inside, my chest felt like someone had hollowed it out with a dull spoon. Back home, our new home, still smelling faintly of fresh paint and unpacked boxes, I tucked him into bed early. Surgery had taken more out of him than the doctors admitted. He fell asleep clutching the stuffed bear I'd bought from the hospital gift shop, the one with the crooked smile that reminded me of his own. I sat on the edge of his bed longer than I meant to. The room was dim, lit only by the nightlight shaped like a rocket ship. His breathing evened out, soft rasps that used to terrify me in the old apartment. Now they sounded like victory. But victory tasted bitter when I remembered Mara's voice on the collect call, thin and cracked. She's yours too. Lily. A sister Jaden didn't know he had. I pressed my palms to my eyes until spots danced. Rage still simmered low, banked but never gone. Part of me wanted to drive to the jail, demand answers, make her feel every second of the hell she'd put us through. But the bigger part, the part that had died in that prison cell in the old timeline, just felt tired. Tired of hating. Tired of carrying the weight of what she'd done like it was mine to fix. I slipped out, closed his door with a soft click, and poured a glass of water in the kitchen. The house was too quiet. No Mara's laughter echoing off walls. No arguments about bills or Jaden's appointments. Just the hum of the fridge and the distant tick of a clock I'd hung too high. My phone sat on the counter. One new voicemail. I almost deleted it without listening. But curiosity, or maybe masochism, won. Mara's voice, softer than before, no righteous edge. Jack. I know you won't call back. I don't blame you. They let me hold her today. Lily. She's tiny. Dark hair like yours. I keep thinking, if I'd chosen different, maybe we'd all be together. I'm not asking forgiveness. Just, tell Jaden I'm sorry when he's old enough. And if you ever want pictures. A pause, choked. I love him. I love her. I loved you once. I'm sorry it wasn't enough. The message ended. I didn't delete it. I saved it to a folder labeled evidence, then buried the phone in a drawer. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the porch steps until dawn, watching stars fade into gray. Grief isn't loud like in movies. It's this slow, grinding ache that settles in your bones. I grieved the marriage I'd believed in. The future we'd planned. The man I'd been before I knew betrayal had a face and a laugh. But mostly, I grieved for Jaden, the boy who'd asked for his mom in the hospital, voice small, when's mom coming? I'd lied then. Said she was working. Now the lie sat heavy in my gut. Weeks blurred into routine. Jaden started physical therapy twice a week. I drove him, sat in waiting rooms with bad coffee, pretended to read magazines while watching him through the glass, determined little steps, sweat on his forehead, thumbs up when the therapist praised him. One Tuesday, the pediatric nurse on duty was new. Or maybe I'd just never noticed her before. Mid-30s, dark curls pulled into a messy bun, name tag reading Elena Ruiz, RN. She knelt to Jaden's level, spoke softly, made him laugh when the exercises hurt. Afterward, she approached me in the hallway. He's doing great. Stronger every session. Yeah. Thanks to you guys. I shifted, awkward. Small talk felt foreign. She tilted her head. You look like you haven't slept in a month. I huffed a laugh. That obvious? Only to people who see exhausted parents every day. No pity, just matter-of-fact kindness. If you ever need to talk, coffee machine's terrible, but the break room's quiet. I nodded. Didn't take her up on it. But the offer lingered. That night Jaden asked about Mara again. Not crying this time, just curious. Is mom coming back? I sat on his bed. Heart hammering. Mom made some mistakes, buddy. Big ones. She's away for a while. But she loves you. Always will. He frowned. Like when I broke the vase and you were mad but still loved me. I swallowed. Yeah. Something like that. He hugged me fierce. I love you more than ice cream. I held him until he slept, throat too tight for words. Court dates started. I went alone. Sat in the back row, watched Mara shuffle in wearing orange, eyes down. She looked smaller. Ian didn't show, plea deal already in motion. The judge asked if I wanted to speak. I stood. Legs steady. Your Honor, I don't want revenge. I want my son safe. I want him to grow up knowing love doesn't come with conditions. Mara, she chose. I choose him. I sat. Mara cried silently across the room. Probation for her. Community service. Supervised visits possible after a year, if Jaden wanted them. No jail. I didn't object. Not for her. For the baby girl who hadn't asked for any of this. Outside the courthouse, Elena was waiting in the parking lot. Not stalking, just coincidence. She'd seen my truck. Rough day? She asked. I leaned against the hood. You could say that. She didn't pry. Just stood beside me. Want to grab real coffee? Not the hospital stuff. I hesitated. Then nodded. We ended up at a small diner. Talked about nothing heavy, Jaden's favorite cartoons, her shift stories, how she moved here after a bad breakup. No pressure. No agenda. When I drove home, the ache in my chest had eased. Not gone. But lighter. Months passed. Jaden grew taller. Ran instead of walked. Started kindergarten. Came home with drawings, him, me, and a rocket ship. No mom in the picture. Not yet. Elena became a fixture. Playdates at the park. Dinner once a week. She never pushed. Never asked about Mara. Just, was there. One evening on my porch, Jaden asleep inside, she sat beside me. Stars out again. You ever think about forgiving her? She asked quietly. I exhaled. Every day. And every day I remember Jaden in that hospital bed. The way she laughed in my head, my old life. But then I look at him now, alive. Happy. And I think maybe forgiveness isn't for her. It's for me. So I don't poison what I have left. Elena touched my hand. Brief. Warm. That's brave. I turned to her. Saw the softness in her eyes. The patience. The way she looked at me like I was worth the wait. I kissed her then. Slow. Careful. Like testing if my heart still remembered how. It did. A year later. Jaden's birthday. We had a small party, cake, balloons, Elena helping with candles. The doorbell rang. Mara stood on the porch. Plain clothes. Nervous hands twisting. Jaden peeked from behind me. Mom? She knelt. Tears already falling. Hi, baby. I missed you so much. He looked at me. Question in his eyes. I nodded. It's okay if you want to talk to her. They sat on the steps. Spoke softly. I watched from the doorway, Elena's hand in mine. Later, Mara met Lily, our daughter, through photos. Asked if someday. I said maybe. Not today. But maybe. That night, Jaden hugged me. Dad? Yeah? I'm glad you're happy again. I kissed his forehead. Me too, buddy. Outside, Elena waited. We sat under the stars. No words needed. Revenge had been cold justice. Healing was warmer. Messier. Real. And for the first time I believed in second chances, not just mine, but everyone's.